You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
We've got on the line Jane Addams now from Alabama Arise and Cover Alabama. What are your positions with those organizations again, Jane?
I'm the campaign director, so my entire job is to organize coalitions, specifically healthcare, folks, organizations, businesses, workers, around the issue of healthcare.
Gotcha. So y'all sent out a press release the other day about the Trump administration's lawsuit to overturn the ACA to it's worth pointing out, to circumvent the legislative process and get their activist judges to write the laws for them. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there are 20 states that have sued. They're in the process of a lawsuit, and it's gone all the way up to the Supreme Court. It's being led by Texas, but unfortunately the state of Alabama also signed on to this lawsuit. The name of the case is Texas v. California, and the Supreme Court is hearing it on November 10th. Essentially what it is the Texas and the 20 other states are arguing that the entirety of the Affordable Care Act, or ACA, or some of your listeners might know it as Obamacare, should be completely overturned and is illegal because the Republicans in Congress got rid of the individual mandate portion of the Affordable Care Act. And so what they're arguing is essentially if you get rid of one piece of it, that it is what they call unseverable, quote unquote, unseverable, which means that if you get one piece of it, that one piece is kind of the key to the rest of the legislation. And so all of it should be illegal, which is kind of to be completely honest, I mean, that is quite possibly the worst way you could argue the ACA is illegal. Yeah. So that's good news for people who support the ACA, because they don't really have a whole lot of legal standing.
Yeah, and it's the thing that they want to say, if I remember this right, the justification is that it's not severable, and the thing that is not severable, they're saying that the mandate is unconstitutional, right? The mandate to have insurance.
They're saying, well, yeah, so the Republicans in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which was President Trump's really unjust tax bill that they passed in 2017, that bill got rid of the individual mandate, which was essentially this fee that you had to pay, or what we call, what the Supreme Court deemed as a tax that you would have to pay if you weren't insured, because the Affordable Care Act mandated that everyone have health insurance or purchase health insurance. And if you didn't have that, then you had to pay this tax, and that was based on your income. Well, they struck down that tax in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, and now these Republican states are saying, well, that tax was everything. It was, it was key to the Affordable Care Act, and so because we got rid of that tax, the rest of it has to go too, which is just kind of a wild argument, to be honest, because the Affordable Care Act, whether you like it or not, thought it went far enough or not, it is like its tendrils are in the entirety of our healthcare system and really our entirety of our tax system. It does so much more than just that one thing. So
right. Yeah, it really is such a flimsy argument, and it's funny because these are supposed to be the people that have like so much respect for the Constitution, so much I just want to call balls and strikes. I just want to follow the law. I don't, it's and the fact that this is the argument that they're making is so silly, and the fact that especially if Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed, that it will probably succeed in the Supreme Court. We've really got to rid ourselves of the myth that that the court is apolitical. So we talked a little bit about the justification. On the other side, let's talk about what the effects are going to be, if you've got time to stay with me for another segment.
Sure, yeah, I've got time.
Okay. All right. So we're going to be talking some more with Jane Addams from Alabama Arise and Cover Alabama. On the other side, stay tuned. Jane, could you talk to us about what the effect of what is going to happen to workers in Alabama if the Trump administration and these Republican attorneys general are able to overturn the Affordable Care Act by circumventing the legislative process and getting their activist judges to rewrite the law?
It would be absolutely devastating for Alabama workers and workers all across the United States. If you remember, before the ACA, you could, join a big company or a big business with over 50 employees and not be provided health care. And the Affordable Care Act said, hey, if you have more than 50 employees, full-time employees, you have to provide them health insurance. And then additionally, on top of that, the health insurance you got was good health insurance. I mean, you might have had to pay, some for it, but it had, essential health benefits. So making sure that, you can get mammograms and all of these other benefits that previously weren't covered. You pick and chose your healthcare plan, kind of like you picked out a restaurant menu before the Affordable Care Act. But with that, you got this kind of set benefits that were covered. On top of that, there's, the premium subsidies. So right now in the state of Alabama, hundreds of thousands of workers get premium subsidies, which means that they're working, but their employer doesn't provide them health insurance, or they, are a small business owner or something like that, and they're able to go on the Affordable Care Act website at healthcare.gov, sign up for a plan, and get a subsidy from the federal government that helps pay for that plan. For instance, my brother, who is a union worker, works in, the tech. He does like a road crew for concerts and stuff like that. Help setting up and tearing down. He gets his health insurance because of a premium subsidy. So he has a platinum level plan and he only pays $60 a month for it. Wow. So all of that would go away. There's just so much that it would just be completely devastating.
Absolutely. That's $60 a month is really, really great. I don't even think that I could get that. And I can get, any federal employee is entitled to, we're able to get the American Postal Workers Health Insurance if we become like an associate member of the union. And so that's the kind of health insurance that I would be looking at. And it's like $100-something a month for, a single person.
Yeah, I mean, so the ACA just kind of, again, it didn't go as far as I would have liked for it to go, but it really did provide this essential level of care and made it much easier for workers to be able to get health insurance and, frankly, much more difficult for the boss to kind of screw people out of not giving them, health insurance or benefits. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of riffing on that a little bit before you came on, and one of the things that has really irked me has been the Republican insistence that their bill in the Senate is the same thing as that you're going to get all the good things that you get with Obamacare without the negatives. Have you read about that bill and how Doug Jones has been absolutely lambasted for voting against it in the Senate? Jane?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's wild that he's been lambasted for voting against it. It would have been absolutely devastating. Look, the tax bill, the Republican tax bill was a give out to corporations. The only thing it did that I think is positive is that it provided additional funding in the child tax credit, which is good. But even then, the poorest families didn't get that benefit. So if you're a single mom with 3 kids in Alabama and you make $15,000 a year, you didn't see your child tax credit increase at all. But if, they changed the law on that bill to families that made up to $300,000 a year can now get the child tax credit, which before it was capped at $80,000. So, again, that bill was a give out. It was a give out to corporations. It got rid of the healthcare mandate. So the individual mandate.
Right. Well, the one that I'm talking about now is a bill that was recently put up, and Tommy Tupperville and some other people have been hitting Doug Jones for voting against it because it, in name, on paper, it protects people with pre-existing conditions.
Oh, but yeah, that's not true at all. Look, you can't be both and, right? Like, this isn't like magic, right? Where your right hand does something and your left hand is doing something else.
Right.
The Trump administration and 20 Republican states, including our own state, is suing the federal government saying the Affordable Care Act is illegal. And the ways that they're saying that it's illegal, specifically, they have argued in court, verbally out loud. Our lawyers have argued in court that protections for pre-existing conditions should be struck down in this law, like verbally out loud. I can find the clip and tape and play it for you. So you can't argue in court that it should be illegal and then put a garbage bill that's non-binding and really a nothing burger on the floor of the Senate and say, oh, we're protecting pre-existing conditions. Look, the structure of the Affordable Care Act was built with the individual mandate and the protection for pre-existing conditions, because the only way insurers could provide protections for pre-existing conditions was if they covered a lot of people, which meant that more people had to buy into the health insurance system. So that was one way through Medicaid expansion, which we failed to do. That's one way through the premium subsidies. All of it is to encourage more people to be in the healthcare pool, to have more coverage. Because if everyone has more coverage, then you can provide services that you weren't able to provide before if you're a company or a business. So, it's just, again, to say that you can just put that nothing burger of a bill. In D.C., that's what we call it, a nothing burger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really loony, and all on paper it protects pre-existing conditions, but it doesn't. It removes coverage requirements. It would allow for insurers to charge women more than men. It allows for spending caps again. It takes away all of the things that you need to, in effect, genuinely protect
Doug Jones and anybody who cares about people, we're average people, should not vote in favor of a bill that would bring back an annual cap on health, how much healthcare coverage you get, to $16,000. Like, look, I had a baby in January and it cost more than $16,000 because she was premature and the NICU. Like, that would have been it. That would have been my lifetime cap for my family if that bill would have passed.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Valley Labor Report. My name is Jacob Morrison. We have on the line with us Jane Addams from Alabama Arise and Cover Alabama. We hit the break before, so if I'll let you finish your thoughts there. Sorry about that, Jane.
Well, I was just saying that bill that was put on the Senate by Senate Republicans would have just been devastating to families. So there's really no reason why anyone should have voted for it. It brought back lifetime caps on coverage. It got rid of essential health benefits. Like, those days are done, right? Everyone thinks that you should be able to get cancer screenings if you buy health insurance or have health insurance. Everyone thinks that, one accident shouldn't make you meet some mythical cap on your healthcare coverage and then never get covered for anything again. So, it's out of touch with the people of Alabama and what they actually believe healthcare should do and provide. So, you can hit Doug Jones on making that decision, but to be honest, he was listening to his constituents and what their needs are.
Right. Right. I definitely agree with that. Jane, thank you so much for coming on. Can you talk to, or can you let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can find more information about the work that Alabama Arise and Cover Alabama does in this area and others?
Yeah, sure. And again, sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm excited to come back and talk healthcare more with you as things progress. But so my job is to lead the Cover Alabama Coalition. You can check out Cover Alabama at coveralabama.org. Please sign our petition. It's a petition to Governor Ivey and the Alabama legislature, urging them and asking them to expand Medicaid. You can find us on social media at Cover Alabama. Please go like our pages, but mostly go and sign that petition. We're trying to get, tens of thousands of Alabamians to sign it before the next legislative session, so we can, print it out and leave it at KIV's door. We're working on trying to get Medicaid expanded, and we think we're closer than ever. We're bringing together a coalition of folks, labor unions, businesses, faith leaders, community organizations, and groups like the Medical Association of the State of Alabama and others around the issue of protecting and expanding Medicaid in the state. So check us out.
All right. Thanks so much, Jane. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your time. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week and get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout the week. And we also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So you can see if we're on your listening platform of choice. You can go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. And if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, then consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.